Including snacks.
What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin,
Yes,
and
sir.
for another episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler boys.
And today we are here to spoil episode 4, Day of the Acolyte. What an interesting name for the title of an episode. Just Day. Now, Sin, you were not present for the last episode of Spoiler Boys.
No.
Where myself and Jokes and Mari discussed the way that the naming conventions were for the show, where the first 2 episodes had 2 names. The second episode, first episode, both had 2 names. Then they got into the third episode and it just had one name, which was Destiny. And then this episode is just Day. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna imagine that the next episode is just gonna be called Night.
Probably. It was night when it ended, so sure.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that makes a difference for some reason. Maybe a Night Sisters kind of reason, but that's a whole other thing. Sin.
Yeah.
Didn't really get your take on last week's episode. So before we go into this one, I don't need a full. I just want to know like what your score was for that episode.
I'm trying to run it back through my head. That was the whole what happened back at the temple back in the day when the Jedis came and yada yada yada. I enjoyed the getting the background, I would say. Like, okay, let's get the background out of the way of what happened, even though I think it's pretty obvious that we didn't see everything that happened at the time.
Definitely not.
Yeah, but I was appreciative of the fact. I think with last week's episode, I was sitting somewhere maybe 7, around 7, maybe a high 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think I was like 7.5. You know what I mean? Like, this show is swimming in 7s for me so far.
Gotcha.
In this episode, we get an opportunity to see. I thought we were going to get some Wookiee Jedi activity. We didn't.
We barely got a Wookiee.
So I'm just going to say right now that disappointed me and brought it down some. I mean, I know we're going to get some somewhere. There's trailers and stuff like that or whatever, right? It's going to happen. But the opening of the episode where we get to see Kalnaka like in his abode, and you see the strange like symbols and stuff that he has written or scribbled all over like the walls on the inside, which match the same patterns and so forth that we've seen on the witches. It's an interesting thing to me, right? And clearly we got to get some more background on that, right? That there's something that happened there, something that won't leave his mind, his memory. And I have thoughts on what that might be, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I just thought it was interesting that they took the time to show us that, because in the grand scheme of the episode, right now it wasn't necessary.
No, I think that just ties into what's missing from what I was just talking about, the whole what happened back then that we didn't get to see. I think that'll come into play when they do show us all of what happened back then.
Right. Yeah. We do get a chance to see, I guess as Osha's deciding to leave, we get to see the Jedi kind of, the Padawans in training, working on their sword skills, hearing them talk about making sure that they are really only using their swords for defensive movements, right? Kind of closing the gap and only allowing themselves space for defense, which I thought was interesting and I feel like is important in some way to the Jedi frame of mind, about who they are, what they represent currently within the galaxy, and um, their overall position and thought process around the Force, what it is and what it means to them. Um, OSHA's like, just came to say goodbye. I'm getting ready to leave. But one day I'll come back and we can talk about Master Soul and whatever. Which maybe that was important in some way. That small conversation.
I appreciated the conversation just because it just showed the bond that them two have. Her and the Padawan, it seemed like they were friends or whatever, like at least back in the day, and they seemed cool.
Well, they didn't. They're just meeting each other. Her and Jackie.
They are
right.
They
So like,
back in the day?
No. No. Yeah, this is all new. And I'm gonna be honest, it felt like maybe they were leaning into like maybe the two of them. I mean, it could have just been straight up, oh, you seem pretty cool. You seem pretty cool too. We do have this, like, I had a sister once who was very close to me. You maybe could feel that, fill that space or something like that. And we both have sort of a father figure in soul that maybe we can get together and talk about. But there also seemed like there could have been a little bit of flirtatious kind of something in there. I don't want to overread into it.
Right.
But when you do it the way you did it, you allow me to read. That's kind of where I'm at.
Could dive more into it, yeah.
Yeah. What I want to talk about a little bit more is the conversation that happens with May as she lands on Kofar, the planet the Wookiees on.
Right. With Homeboy, I'm trying to think of his character's name.
You got me.
Kimar, or see it right here. Qimir. I don't know how to say that. I'm not going to try to butcher that anymore.
Come on.
Right.
Chimer. Their conversations are very interesting to me. Talk to me about where you're thinking.
That he revealed himself as the villain. That's what I thought. From the second the conversation started, I was like, I'm just looking at dude like, oh, the way you're wording everything and the way you're asking these questions, dude, you're obviously the villain right now. Come on now. It's obvious to me at this point that he's the bad that we're getting to.
Here's the thing. It seems so obvious that I feel like it's purposeful misdirection. Okay. Like, I feel like they're leaning so heavy into it must be him that it can't be him. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I see what you're saying. I'm not giving them enough credit for that just yet.
Who is they?
The writers.
Oh, I give Leslie Headland all that credit based on what her track record looks like. I would give her that credit. Matter of fact, based on, I can't think of his name, but the actor like has had roles where he does stuff like that anyway. So like, and again, I'm not one to feel like somebody should be or has to be typecast, but we know it happens. It starts to feel so obvious, like his misdirection or not completely answering questions or changing the subject.
Yeah, or the whole, she seemed really into that Jedi. What was his name again?
Yeah.
Soul? Like, dude, will you just stop? Like,
yeah. Which, again, at that point, it feels like it's so obvious she should clearly be picking up on it. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like I thought she kind of was. Like especially then, like how she like kind of stepped back and looked at him, and then from then like she felt more distance as they got further and the conversations went on. Like yeah,
See, but I just feel like I feel it certainly could be him. Like I'm not saying it's not him.
if it's not him, then like we said in the beginning, how he obviously knows more than he's leading on, and he's a lot closer to whoever this Sith is than we're being led to believe. Not just he likes to collect people. No, you're like closer tied to this person than we believed.
Yeah, but it also makes it sound like she does know things about the master, like, oh, he likes to collect people. So what does that mean? Does it mean that she's aware that he does actually have people that he just has going out and doing stuff, or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly he does have some skill, bro. Look, if there's anything that would tell me that clearly he has skill, it was like at the end of the second episode, she attacked him, and my man just whoop whoop bobbed it, weaved it, threw her off. You know what I mean? And she kind of looked at him like, "How you know how to do that?" You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, I feel like where she is more in the line of I don't trust you than it is in the line of I think you're the actual master. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea of what do you have to gain by assisting me the way you're assisting me? Why are you assisting me? Did the master tell you, oh, you better go make sure that she gets A, B, and C done the right way? Is he trying to see her fail? And, he could have just been like, not giving you the poison. You got to go in there and just kill Slim. You're not supposed to use a weapon, which he was kind of saying to her
Yeah.
while he was making the poison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he was trying to reiterate the rules that he put on her or whatever. How you gonna do it? You can't. Yada yada.
But here's the thing. And again, like I'm all for long shots, right? And part of the reason why I'm all for it right now is because while I guess in some way there does need to be a tie for what's happening here to other stuff that we already do know about in the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that had me excited about this show is the ability for them to kind of just do whatever, because it's 100 years before any of that stuff happens, right? But you're showing us characters that exist during the Clone Wars. You're showing us characters, you know what I mean? Like Ki-Adi-Mundi is in the show. Like he's also sitting on the High Council in the prequel trilogy. So like
Mm-hmm.
clearly there could very easily be ties to things that happen. Obviously the Jedi are hiding something, like the conversation that Osha ends up having later on with Master Soul, where he's like, you're not going in there to face your sister. You're going in there to face yourself. But once we get your sister and we get back on the ship, I'll tell you everything. I'm going to explain it all. So he got secrets, right? There's a part of me, look, in my head, it can go any number of directions. But I'm like, okay, we have a coven of witches, no males, no men. And, what if this was a boy who was outcast or was left behind or something, right? When, like, they made a point of saying, of having the twin sisters when they're arguing, and, Osha's saying to May, I don't want to be just like you. Like, I want my own stuff. And she's like, why? And she's like, you know what I mean? She's like, you don't, you want to be a witch, all that kind of stuff. And she's like, nah, it just feels that way because we're the only kids here. Well, why are y'all the only kids there? What and who did y'all leave behind? Where are the rest of your people? Whatever, right? Could this have been a person who was involved in their tribe or something a long time ago, or be related to somebody that was there? Could he be, I don't know, that he had something to do with what happened to them in the first place with the fire or whatever it was, even if he was a kid or wasn't supposed to be there or something, right? There is definitely more to it than what they're telling us, but like I had to go back and rewatch the last episode just to kind of try to put some little things together. And when May and Osha are having that like argument while their mother's trying to like teach them how to use the threads or whatever, and they're like pushing each other and arguing, there's a noise that they hear that like interrupts them, and then Mother Anastasia tells them, kids, go to your room, right? And then their other mother like goes to check it out, and when she does, you can see that like they show like what looks like a giant generator or wherever they're staying in, some kind of lava waterfall, I don't know, dog. But that like it's sparking, like something happened, something went wrong in there at that moment. Next thing you know, they're in there having an argument. Shorty starts a fire, you know, blah blah blah. Now everything's blowing up, right? So clearly something happened and somebody was there, or somebody did something there. To believe that it was the Jedi doesn't make sense to me. Could it have been somebody that was there that got involved and they saw Jedi and it turned into a whole thing? Absolutely. Could he somehow be tied to whoever that was snooping around or was trying to cause this rift in the first place? Absolutely. But if Slim is that skilled that he can hide his sensitivity, his strength, like even Soul, when Soul got close to him, like at the end of this episode, when he comes floating down from the top of the woods, which again is clearly like, I'm here to make sure y'all know that I'm here. This is not like I probably could have snuck up on y'all and just started murking.
Yeah.
I'm here to show, like,
I'm here to make a point.
Soul sensed him, right? But didn't seem to sense anything when they ran into him in the shop. You know, tell us everything you know, kind of stuff.
We know when it comes to Sith and being sensed, Jedi aren't too good at that. You know,
correct.
They can have a way to. I'll keep my stuff at 0, and when I need to turn it up, I can, and I can drop it right back down.
And that would be incredible to me if somebody would actually explain that in a way that's like really like, here's what they do and how they do it, you know, or whatever, right? The whole, I have theories on what's going to happen in the next episode, but I'm not sold on him being the master. It feels too obvious.
I get that.
I'll be upset. I'll be broke if he's the master. I might be done with this show.
I would get that. I'm not there yet. Like I said, just because it seems so obvious. It's not like they swerved the high. It was, you know, it was me. Like just the way they're going, it makes it obvious. If it is him, yeah, I won't be thrilled at all. Because I don't like this show being so obvious. Kind of like at this point right now. Like this whole episode was just a waste of time, in my opinion. Like this 30 minutes was a waste. They could have chopped up this into the last 3 episodes, and we could have been going into what's about to happen now. Like it was just a lot of talking, a lot of traveling. It was just.
I mean, I don't mind that so much. Just like I do, I like Osha like pulling Yord aside and being like, "Listen, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this. Like, I don't know that we're gonna be able to stop her, and I can't hesitate again. So if it comes down to it, you're gonna have to step up, Yord. Like, you're gonna have to do what has to be done, right?" And him being like, you know, I don't think it's gonna come to that. Come on, we gotta go. Like, you know, that's interesting to me that they took the moment to have those two characters kind of, again, because they trained together. They were Padawans together, not Jackie. Yord and Osha trained together. They know each other, you know, from before. So I do like that of all the people there, like she doesn't seem to know anybody but Soul and Yord. And that she chose to go to him rather than go to Soul because she already feels like
Soul's not gonna be able to do it. Yeah,
correct. He's too tied up in it, and she's like, I can't do it. You know what I mean? So you might have to be the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I just thought was interesting, and I feel like it's going to be important somewhere
It
down the
is.
road.
It is. Yeah. There's no
Um,
reason why for them to have that interaction because it
right.
is something important. Yeah.
Um, I do think it's important that the conversation that May is having with Slim, we're not gonna mess up his name again, but you telling me you went in there? You went in there and found him? Yes, the thing for her. Yeah.
Nah.
Because the other part of it for me about that weird kind of back and forth between them almost makes me feel like he has a thing for her. Again, it's still weird and kind of creepy that he got that close to Ocean, was like, you look just like her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he figured it out. He knew what was up. You know what I'm saying? Could sense the energy or something, right? Could just tell, oh, it's not her. But there's also that. Like, it felt to me, there were moments of it where I felt like he's like maybe also partially doing what he's doing because he got a crush. You know what I'm saying? He's feeling a little something because my man is going to great lengths. And, again, for the master to even be there, how, why,
Because he
how
changed
do
his
they
clothes.
know?
He's been here the whole time.
I mean,
Right. But yeah, outside of if that's not it, then yes. How did you know that? How did you know where they were? She said he can't find me. All the way out here, yada yada. Okay, well, he's a lot stronger than you give him credit for, apparently, because he
well,
knows where
again,
you're at.
yeah, like how did he figure out where Kalnaka was in the first place? Like, I'm just the greatest tracker, you
And
know.
and he's not worried about any of them Jedi's in front of him. Not a one.
You mean the master when the master showed
Yeah,
up?
yeah,
Oh, clearly.
yeah.
I'm talking about how Slim found Kalnaka in the first place. Like, I found him. I
Oh
gotta
yeah,
play
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go this way, whatever. And I'm just like,
Yeah, how do you
Kim,
know this?
she's like, you telling me you went up in there? Yeah, yeah, I did it. You know, but I like where May is by like a quarter of the way through the episode when she's like, you know what? I think he struck a chord. I think he miscalculated and struck a chord incorrectly by saying to her, like, the fact that she's alive doesn't mean anything.
Mm.
Right? It's not important. It changes nothing. You still got to go in here and do this. That's what the master wants you to do. Why are you doing what you're doing? I owe him. Let's just say I owe him. Whatever. Which again, it's possible that this isn't the master. That this is the apprentice to the
Right.
master.
That's
And that,
maybe that's what I meant when I was saying, like, if it's not the man, he's somebody extremely close to him, like more than we've been led to
yeah,
believe. Yeah.
yeah. And now, yeah, it could be that he is the same person we saw with the saber show up, pop off, like
That could
at
be
the
the
end of the
apprentice, and we
episode.
just don't know.
But I'm thinking he's the apprentice, right? Now, I do think, the way the Sith, the rule of two works is that if he wants to be the master, he got to get an apprentice that he can then have help him turn against the master so they can kill the master so he can become the master
And then we
and
have a
take
new
on a new
apprentice.
apprentice. And
Mm-hmm.
that might be what we're witnessing, right? That like he's actually the apprentice working in shadow to try to get her to take out these Jedi because he found somebody that should have this fear, should have this anger, should have this hate, and push that person. And a lot of what has driven that fear, anger, and hate was the idea that these Jedi were responsible for the death of her sister. And so him saying to her, hey, the fact that your sister's alive don't change nothing. Sure it does. Because I was only mad at them because they thought they killed her.
Right.
Turns
But
out
I
they took
saw
her
her
in,
like
raised her, fed
yeah.
her, trained her. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Left me. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So it changes everything.
Yeah.
So she's confused, and Osha is too. But it also was very weird that, like, Soul had that conversation with we're gonna call them the current Jedi Council, right? In their little meeting space, going back and forth. All right, 2 of our people are dead. They're going after this one. We about to send a team out there to go get him. And he's like, nah, I gotta go. It gotta be me. She's like, no, sir. No, sir, you're too close.
To this. Yeah.
And he's like, which again, a very Jedi thing. Like, you're not supposed to get close. You're not supposed to allow your emotions to get involved. It's a problem, blah, blah, blah. Again, already an issue with what he did in taking May, taking her under her wing. I'm going to train you. Basically, I'm going to be your daddy now, right? I feel so bad about what happened. Not real different from Qui-Gon being like, oh, I feel so bad. You're stuck here. You're a slave. Yeah. I gotta, but being very emotionally attached to the child and wanting or feeling like they need to, they need to train. We haven't gotten a true story meaning behind what happened with Osha and her training and why she walked away from her Jedi training. For all we know, she could have been really good at it. She might have been really, maybe it scared her. Maybe it reminded her of what, it was like that she was trying to get away from or something, along those lines.
She seemed excited though when she thought Soul was asking her to rejoin the Jedi Order.
A little bit, right? Yeah. Like, are you asking me to come back? But again, she maintains that she left on her own, that she wasn't kicked out, that it was her decision to leave. That doesn't mean somebody didn't have a conversation with her and say, hey, maybe this isn't the right
maybe it's the best of everybody if you.
And again, it could have been because she still had these emotional attachments. And it was like, yo, if we keep letting her learn and do what she's doing, that attachment, she's going to lead to the dark side and it's going to turn into a thing and blah, blah, blah. Totally possible that was the case. There's so many different angles and plot twists with this show. That is the reason why I'm enjoying the show, even though I don't think the show is great yet. I think there's the possibility of a twist or a turn or something that is coming down the road. And I'm like, all right, tee it up.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And with that twist, as you start looking back and it all starts making sense and everything, like, okay. But right now, a little rickety.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, so Osha has this moment when they're walking through the forest where she touches one of the creatures that's on the tree. Why are you rolling your eyes, bro?
You see the obvious things there, like, oh, those things don't look right. She touches one and starts moving. I'm like, okay, obviously these things are everywhere. Maybe we're about to get like some little action sequence. No, okay, no Jedis and cutting down bugs. No, none of that. But as she's seeing it fly away and Gary start flying to her, I'm sitting like, sweetheart, you have a gun on your stomach. Shoot the stupid thing. Like, shoot something in the way. No need to call for Soul and them to come back. Shoot. I mean, you could warn everybody but that those things are there. Just, okay, we need some lightsaber time. All right, cool. Let's bring Soul up to show off his blue lightsaber. Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. The only reason why I feel like that scene was there and is important. Specifically because after it came to him and he sliced it in half, he specifically said it was drawn to the light of the lightsaber. So now,
but there was no lightsaber. Well, okay, I guess when he whipped it up, then it started charging him. Okay,
right.
Okay.
So now at the end of the episode, it's about 12 lightsabers lit up in the dark forest at nighttime.
Which means,
guess who's coming?
We should have a swarm of them coming.
We should have a swarm coming, and I think that's the only thing that's going to save them in this fight. Like, I think it's going to cause some level of confusion. There's going to be something extra that has to do with that, and I think that's going to it's going to contribute to like them getting separated or something, but there's going to be specifically something with that's going to be a callback to the fact he was like, oh, they're drawn to the light. Now they got their lightsabers out. Because otherwise, we were in the daytime and now it's the nighttime. And that means to me, if they're drawn to the light, those are like a moth or whatever. They're nocturnal. So they're awake at night normally. You know what I'm saying? Daytime, they sleep, they rest, whatever. Nighttime, they out anyway. So it's their time and they're going to be drawn to the light. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's the only reason why that was a thing, because now it's getting ready to have some sort of a impact on what's going on currently in the show. As far as this fight is concerned. My man Cal Naka got his body rocked.
He did. And we don't know by who. Well, yeah. If I mean, was, yeah.
So I again, I'm gonna be honest. My thought was, she walked in. Obviously, he's already dead. So when she first walks in, I'm thinking, here we go. It's gonna seem like another setup. They're gonna blame her, and she's the one that killed him. I'm like, oh, here we go again, right? Only for her to actually swing around to the other side and see that very large lightsaber swish
through
my man's chest and abdomen. Not only was it not her, she don't have one, so it couldn't have been her.
Right.
But then for her to be like, oh snap, he's here, right? To have that like oogity boogity. Again, I don't know what the purpose is. This throws everything off of me.
It does, because if she was supposed to be the one to kill him without a lightsaber, why would the master kill him? Because that was her test to do it.
She was going to snitch.
Oh, yeah. What does that mean for her going forward, as far as like what she has to do to fulfill whatever she's trying to fulfill with him?
That's a great question.
Is that just that was a warning, but he was going to be dead anyway, regardless if she did?
Nah, because right now the master is in a position to kill Soul,
and
that's the other one that she needs.
Which one it is.
You see, the other thing that's interesting about this is that it is specifically these 4 Jedi, and that she has to kill one without a weapon. So the killing one without a weapon thing is probably the thing that is the most like jarring to me in terms of like, okay, why is that a thing? Why is that a rule? I guess sure it's a test or whatever, but listening to her like say, bro, this is impossible. Like there's no way for me to do this. I cannot. It's one thing to have to fight and kill a Jedi. It's another thing to have to fight and kill a Jedi that is a Wookiee.
What?
With no weapon. Right? And I gotta do it on Slim. Or I gotta do it on Soul.
Yep.
Which for me would have been like, I'll be honest, I'm not even planning to kill Count Naka any other way. I'm just gonna kill Slim. We're not even going to try to do this without a weapon. I'm planning to sneak in.
He's the one I got to pick. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would wager that Soul, for all intents and purposes, should be as easy of a target as Indara was.
Mm-hmm.
She was clearly the person who was the leader when they came to the camp. She's the one doing all the speaking. So to me, she's been a master Jedi longer than everybody else. She's the first one that she goes to and kills, and she bodied her easy. It only took like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe that fight was longer than that in real life, but in TV time, it was like
30 seconds.
30 seconds. And was kind of like a next to nothing. So to me, if I'm going to go after one and try to do it without using a weapon, it's going to be Soul.
Yeah, without a weapon, you fighting against a Wookiee. That's a tough. That's a
which again was kind of a thing that was also throwing me off because it made me feel like she was not even considering Soul anymore. Like just her being like, "This is impossible. I can't do it." So you know what? I'm just gonna turn myself in. You know what I mean? It changes everything. Set up a snare. You know what I mean? My man got trapped. You know, again, also, it just feels to me like what would be the honest to goodness purpose of him not revealing himself or like walking into her trap that is the snare, right? Like when if you're that powerful, if you're that guy, why? Like, and there was, I feel like a little bit of fear, like when he's upside down and she's like, I'm gonna turn myself in, I'm gonna tell him, and they're like, nah, they're gonna take you back, they're gonna put you in prison. She's like, not if I tell him everything I know, not if I tell him about the master. And his immediate reaction was that, like, he'll kill you. Like, he just,
I will kill
everything.
you. That's what he said.
But I feel like he could have just done that then. Like, again.
But probably it's one of them little
Or
manipulation
just
things.
yoinked her up. Like,
I
he
just
could
want to
have just.
see how far you gonna. I want to see if you're really gonna pull that trigger. How far? Because I can end it in a second. I'm just maybe just toying with her type of thing.
I don't know. It just feels dumb. Like, if that's the case, it feels dumb to me. Like, because, all right, clearly you know where Kalnaka is. You can survive the forest because you've been here and done that before. You are going. You beat her there because again, she don't know where she's going. She's trying to figure it out, right? So he's able to get there before her, slay the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, for all we know, they were going to get there and he was going to be dead already anyway.
But the no, I think that was fresh. Only because when the lightsaber was like still burning, like the scar or whatever.
Yes, it was. But I'm saying that if the master and him are not the same person, again,
Mm-hmm.
it's possible. It could have just been like, I'm a body slam anyway. You know what I mean? Or what? But again, it would seem that the only reason to do that and to jump the gun would specifically be because she was going to snitch. But then, what are you afraid of? And that also makes me feel like that this master in particular also has a vendetta against these 4 Jedi, which makes me feel like whoever the master is actually one of the witches. Maybe her mother, one of the other mothers. Just like, no, do I think the mask would fit over her? No. Over the horns? No. But I'm just saying that, like, who knows how damaged or disfigured or whatever after the
Mm-hmm.
fire and whatever. Who knows if, the way they were all laid out, they clearly didn't die in the fire. You know what I mean? They died due to something else. But I don't see, I don't see marks on them that look like they got attacked by lightsabers. You know what I'm saying? So that also makes me think maybe they ingested something. Maybe they took a poison. But again, that would happen. I mean, look, that poison does not take long, right? To ingest. So like if somehow, some way, somebody else who was involved or was in there was like, look, we're about to get found out. We got it. Like, who knows what the reason would be? I'm just saying that if May survived, to me, it's possible any other one of them could have survived.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were already powerful in the Force in some way, now they have an anger and a fear that could push them to a limit, beyond a limit, or to a version of them that in the last 8 years or whatever it's been, they were 8, so like 16 years,
Yeah.
trained up, already had use of the Force,
Yeah.
killed a Jedi or someone somewhere along the way, got a kyber crystal. Because
Yep.
apparently, right, that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to kill a Jedi and use the blood of that Jedi to bleed the kyber crystal or whatever to turn your saber red. So, like, if you have a red saber,
You obviously got the job done.
as far as I know, as far as the lore of the Sith is concerned, that's the only way to get a red saber.
Mm.
So the idea that there is an additional vendetta that maybe has something to do with why, like, because again, if you're already that strong and powerful and you're not really tripping, that is like 8 Jedi there. You just show up, just float out the trees like Mothman, bruh. Clearly, you like, man, I'll body all of these joints, which certainly also doesn't feel like an apprentice move. Because, dog, if that's the apprentice,
yeah, the master is sick,
or is also there. They both there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a distraction. Like, I'm coming from the back, and you know, like, it's, hey, dog, he just flung OSHA.
Just move, get out the way. All you,
Come get it.
I'm about to body every last one of y'all.
Yeah, like, I want you to know this is what you're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was me.
They don't know that, though. That's the thing.
They haven't gone in there yet. Yeah,
they haven't seen that. They have no idea, right? But again, you bodied the Wookiee Jedi that she. But again, for all we know, Slim walked in the room, said whatever they said, and he was just like, you know what? You're right. I give up. And just let Slim slam in the chair. It didn't look like there was a fight. Nothing is disturbed for real in the room.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the chair with the swipe in his chest. So either Slim snuck up on him and he never saw it coming, or just like the other master.
Yeah, it was a conversation that was had.
You know what you did. Yeah. You know what this is. You know what I mean? And it just was like, all right. You know what I mean? So for all we know, Kalnaka gave up. It was like, because clearly Slim got something in his head he can't get out. And that says to me that at some point during that night, they took control of him. I think it's the same thing that happened to him. Because when they're like, all right, in the second episode, no, I'm sorry, last episode, third episode, when they show up as their kids and the other master, Torben, I don't know why he's a Padawan, right? But remember, they instantly grab control of Slim.
Yeah.
And we're like, if you want him back in his right mind, y'all gonna go. You gonna leave. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, right? So they release him, but clearly that means that they have the ability to take control of them and can do it like it's nothing. Right? And we only saw one person do it. And that was their other mother.
Mm-hmm.
So it's totally possible that they got control of them, because he has a scar on his face when he kills himself, when he takes the poison.
Mm-hmm.
He does not have that scar when that happens. But if you look at the trailers, you can see like there's a fight and he gets that scar at some point during that fight, and it looks to me like he's fighting Kalnaka. So that to me says either one of them is in control of the other one, like one of them took control of one of them and now they're fighting him, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Something else happened though that did that. And to me, that says they got in Kalnaka's mind. That's why he has all that stuff scrolled all over the wall, because he just like, yo, he can't get away from it. He can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Maybe he was forced to kill.
And that's probably why he lives in solitude. Yeah.
But so was the other dude. He was like basically living in solitude and just was like, had the little force bubble and just floating, like not talking to anybody, hasn't said anything, basically living in solitude.
Yeah.
So something with the two of them, to me, is the reason.
And we'll find out once we get back to that flashback and they show us the whole thing of what the parts y'all cut out.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because to me, that's part of it. Like the fact that they took the time to show that he had all that stuff scrolled all over the walls is like, all right, clearly over all this time, he hasn't been able to get that out of his mind. Like it won't leave him. You know what I'm saying? So whoever this is, I'm going to assume it's somebody that's tied to them originally, right? And that somehow along the lines, they ended up having to kill all of the witches or do something to whoever they thought, you know, whatever. But again, it also seemed to me like she walked outside when the girls got sent away and they started to fight, and now here's the fire. And also, I feel like her sister's eyes turned black before she started the fire.
I have to go back and rewatch it.
But
Don't think
like, it seems to me that somebody else is stepped in and is controlling him, and that to me is a thing that we've only seen one person do, and
yeah,
that's how it feels to me. Like, so I feel like this is leaning in the direction of this, being an offshoot. Here's maybe where some version of the Sith is reborn. That rule of two, for whatever reason, is what it is. Like, Darth Plagueis could certainly be alive now, but Sidious not around yet, so it could be that these are steps. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, again, the episodes leave more questions than they do answers, which to me is what a real good mystery is supposed to do. Every time you think you get an answer to something, it gives you more questions. And I'm good with that. So, like, I'm enjoying the show. Like, I'm at a place where, like, for me, I'm just going to give a score. This episode for me is probably like a 7, 7.5, which is about where I've been. If for no other reason than, like, the way it ended was like, it's about to go down. Yep, let's go. You know what I mean? Because she walks in, it's like, oh, Slim is dead. Oh, it's a lightsaber. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. Oh, he's here. Nobody knew that. Okay. Everybody get the, you know what I mean? Listen, this episode has their Avengers moment where they show them all in a lineup and everybody but like, everybody pulls their saber out like they getting ready to do something, and it's like, it's less effective because you don't know none of these brothers. Like, nobody knows who these people are. You know what I'm saying? But still, it was there. We're all lined up on this side, getting ready to fight.
The hardest part was when the master pulls up on her and just lights the red lightsaber. Like, there we go. We got the red joint now.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I think the hardest part was when Slim came floating down in the back corner. It wasn't even wasn't even centered in the shot. Just like, here's her.
That was cool. Only thing I didn't like about that, and it's probably going to flow into next week, I thought the lighting was too dark.
Like, but I like that about it, though. That's the thing. Like, I like that about it. That, like, oh, all right. Like, Slim is a creep. Like, it just, I don't know. To me, it's also kind of like, why even bother going back up to the trees if you already killed Slim? You're not really sneaking up on them because you clearly want them to know you're there. Yeah. You pull up, light the saber, but it's
they didn't know you were there until you were ready to start flexing on them.
But that's the point. To me, it's like, I just want you to know I can body all of you. Like, I'm not even, this ain't even close to, like, it's 7 of y'all, 8 of y'all, 9 of y'all, and a couple of, don't mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
home, tell them send some more because this ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, this is you have no idea, and I want you to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, this almost feels like I'm going to leave survivors on purpose.
Yeah,
somebody gotta
just go. Send a message back. You're one of your favorite quotes from Mulan.
I was about to say, it goes back to Mulan. I'm like, that's my favorite villain of all time. Because he was like, go ahead, let him leave, and he was like, how many people does it take to deliver a message? My man said, drew that bow. I'm like, yeah, he's a thug, bro. Like, that for me was like, all right, we might be really dealing with somebody who's a beast right now. Like, clearly, like, I'm just gonna use the force and blow all of you back. Like, y'all just all gonna charge me? Don't make me no never mind.
All right, I'll blow the whole force at you. Get away from me.
Dog, that shit been there so long. I feel like he was getting ready to push that whole joint out of it, and it was like a basic joint. It wasn't like he was like he was really trying.
Just a quick little flex. Boom. All right, you with me now? You reading the room yet?
They don't. You know, like, and I'm kind of here for that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm looking forward to seeing.
I'm kind of here for that.
Turns out next week. I'm looking forward to it.
I am excited about the prospect of a Star Wars villain in live action that goes back to actually being menacing for today's society. Like again, like Darth Vader was like, ah, he was then, but like,
I would absolutely love my kind of villain Sith wise.
that's what
I
I'm
would
saying.
love
Like,
it. And
to
the
me,
potential is here.
Grievous
Creepy
was that.
looking mask. Oh, Grievous is my dude.
Grievous was that.
Like I
Grievous
said,
was like, yo, they were so shook. They were so afraid. You know what I mean? Like they were shook. It's just in the sequel trilogy, you don't really have like Kylo Ren ain't no Darth Vader. Ain't nobody scared of Slim.
he's an angry toddler. That's what he
Exactly.
is.
It's not even. Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't even come close, right? So like having somebody that seems to have like a true understanding of the Force, has actual true anger, like not like
And knows how to strike
misplaced
fear in
toddler
people.
anger,
Ooh.
but like you know what I mean, is really coming from a place of like darkness and y'all just you don't know. Like this is not just about who has power and who gets to use it. This is about running this I'm fitting to run I'm running you all down. I'm starting with you four and I'm finishing you all off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to run an order 66. Like I'm getting ready to run it down. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that it feels like we could be, as it's saying a lot, on the precipice of a Darth Maul. Because
Okay.
there's
From
only
cool
really been
factor and
two.
all that type of stuff. Yeah. Okay.
It was Maul because he actually looks menacing. There's Maul and there's Grievous. And that's it. Everybody else is like, at least as far as live action is concerned.
Dooku
And
wasn't
so,
menacing. He was like an evil politician.
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, that's kind of real life anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So like the that kind of like, nah, bro, like floating down from the darkness. I'm gonna get rid of y'all. I just want the two. I just want the sisters. Now that I know they both alive, or maybe the Bama knew they were both alive the whole time. Who knows?
Right.
I just want the two. I need the two of them. Whatever that duality, that like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like, the end of the episode kind of saved it for me and was like, okay, 7.5. We'll see what they do. I'll be very upset if the next episode does not start where this episode ended. If it starts with a flashback,
Hold on to your hats. Just saying. I would not be surprised if they don't start there.
I won't be surprised, but I will be upset. Unless whatever they do is like equally raw. Like you can't really end on a cliffhanger like that and not, all right, let's get this action. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're due another flashback.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got 4 episodes left. So it could be the next episode, it could be another one, but I feel like you do day and you do night. And then once the dust is settled from whoever survives this encounter, now we go into flashback mode because we got to get back to the ship and we got to tell the story. We got to, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. Like we got to get to that story.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Your score for this?
Something came back to me while we were discussing this, and it's about the last episode. I have to redo my score and knock it down another point to like a 5.5 or a 6, I would say, because I could not stand the child actors in it whatsoever. I could not stand them the entire time. They just annoyed me. I don't know. Child actors in Star Wars ain't landed for me. But outside of that, this episode, I'm at the same at like a 5.5. I mean, like I said, I felt this episode could have been broken up and sprinkled in the past 3, and then the payoff though is where we be going into. But everything else that happened here, it wasn't worth a whole episode to this for me. It just been sprinkled through everything else, and either extend the run with other stuff or come back on the episode or so. But I was cool with how it ended, and I'm looking forward to what happens next week because it looks like we are getting our big Jedi fight sequence and some cool stuff is going to happen. And now that the reveal of the master, things should really start to pick up and things start happening now. So
yeah,
yeah,
we're at the pinnacle. It's the halfway point. So
yeah.
we got to take it up one more time and then bring it down. That's how it should go. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. This has been your episode of Spoiler Boys for episode 4 of The Acolyte, titled Day. We'll be back next week, hopefully with the full crew, to discuss episode 5. But until then, we are out. Toodles and lose.
Loading snacks.